Hello friends and welcome back to In God's Hands. In this video we're going to be looking at the Year 9 RED with a focus on Branch 1, Creation and Covenant. So please continue to watch the video to see which pieces of scripture we'll be exploring, which elements of the catechism we'll be learning from, and how our faith gets expressed both in artwork and faith in action. We begin the unit by looking at human dignity as the foundation of Christian life. The central theme of this unit is the dignity of the human person, a foundational teaching in both sacred scripture and Catholic social teaching. This concept flows directly from the belief that all human beings are created in the image and likeness of God, or Imago Dei, which means each person has an inalienable, God-given dignity that cannot be earned or lost. The unit explores two key areas through this lens: the moral implications of human dignity, what it means for how we live, act and relate to others, the nature of man and woman as equal in dignity, and how this forms the basis of the sacrament of matrimony. These teachings are rooted in scripture, developed through the Church's magisterium, and applied to contemporary ethical and social issues. Key themes and teachings. We begin by looking at human dignity in the creation accounts. Students begin by revisiting the creation accounts in Genesis 1 and 2, with a specific focus on texts that reveal the equality and dignity of men and women. Particular focus is given to Genesis 1, verses 26 to 28, where God says, "Let us make mankind in our image." Genesis 2, verse 7, where God forms man from dust and breathes life into him. And Genesis 2, verses 21 to 24, the creation of woman from man's side. From these texts, students explore the Church's teachings that all human beings are made in the image of God, that man and woman are created with equal personal dignity, that human beings are created as persons, not just objects, with the freedom, reason and relational capacity necessary for moral decision making and for love. And these views are supported by a range of teachings within the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Students also return to the concept of Imago Dei and understand that it is not abstract, and that in fact it means that every person is unique and unrepeatable, capable of love, reason and self-giving, and called to communion with God and others. These theological truths serve as the foundation for Catholic moral teaching, personal identity and social ethics. Secondly, students will go on to study marriage as a sacrament of communion. Building on the nature of human dignity and relationality, the unit explores the Christian understanding of marriage, a covenant instituted by God at creation and elevated by Christ to the dignity of a sacrament. Students will look on the Church's teachings that God himself is the author of marriage, that marriage is a sacrament at the service of communion, symbolizing the love between Christ and the Church, that marriage is a lifelong partnership ordered toward the good of the spouses and the procreation and education of children. Students will explore the biblical foundation of marriage as found in Genesis, Jesus' teachings on marriage and fidelity as found in the Gospel of Mark, marriage is a sign of God's unconditional love, the symbolic richness of the marriage rite, including vows, rings, and the nuptial blessing. Through these teachings, students learn that Christian marriage is not merely a legal contract, but a sacred covenant rooted in freedom, faithfulness, and fruitfulness. Thirdly, students will look at human dignity in contemporary ethical questions. Students are going to understand the sanctity and dignity of human life and how that leads naturally into the exploration of a range of ethical issues that challenge or uphold this principle. Students engage with the Church's teachings on the sanctity of life, that every person has a right to life and physical integrity from conception to natural death, that the human person is and as a steward, not an owner of life. The communal dimension of the moral life, that our decisions impact others. the use of reason and conscience to discern moral good, using the Church's teaching on the sources of morality, object, intention and circumstance. Students will then look at a range of key ethical issues, including abortion and euthanasia, capital punishment, freedom of conscience, and moral decision making. In this way, students are empowered to connect moral theology with real-world questions, responding thoughtfully and faithfully to complex ethical dilemmas. Students will then look at art and human creativity as signs of Imago Dei. The unit explores the idea of human creativity, especially in the form of art, that it within itself is a sign of the divine image within humanity. Students will focus on the teaching from the Catechism, which states that art is a form of practical wisdom and bears a certain likeness to God's activity, to the extent that it is inspired by truth and love of beings. Students will explore the earliest human art, for example cave paintings, and also how art expresses dignity, or in some cases undermines it. And students will also look at films and stories that explore questions of what it means to be a human. This part of the unit allows for creative expression and invites students to reflect on how beauty and truth reveal the divine image in human culture. Finally, students will look at living out human dignity in the world. They will reflect on how the Church's teaching on human dignity and marriage can inspire concrete action in the world. This includes learning from individuals or groups who defended the dignity of others, such as the hospice movement and pro-life organisations. Students will gain an understanding of the difference between civil marriage and sacramental marriage, and how societal definitions may differ from the Church's vision. Students will reflect on how to live with integrity, uphold dignity, and love of others, authentically in their own lives. This encourages a deeply personal application of the unit's teachings. Students are not simply learning about Catholic beliefs, but are being informed and formed to live out these beliefs with compassion, courage, and clarity. So this unit tackles some incredibly big and complex aspects of what it is to live in the modern world. Through the study of Scripture and the Catechism of the Catholic Church, students should be equipped with a way to navigate and understand the world, which hopefully allows them to not just understand what the Catholic Church states, but to be able to live in a way that fulfills the vision of the Church. I hope that you found this video useful, and if you have, please do like and subscribe to the channel, as we will continue our journey through the subsequent branches of the RED. Until next time, I pray that God holds you and all those that you love and the entire world in His hands.